YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. In today's video, we're going through the top 15 biggest steals of the 2020 NFL Draft. In my opinion, was originally going to be a top 10. I always got to add some extra. So 5 extra, top 15 here. There's about 50 big steals from this draft class. So really had to narrow it down to 15 here. So, there's a lot more steals. If your favorite player, your favorite pick's not in here, doesn't mean I didn't think it was a steal. Just picked out 15 good ones here in my opinion. Let me know in the comments your top steals and click that like button while you're at it. Please subscribe while you're at it as well. We got 2 channels, a Twitter, Instagram. There's links in the description and comments of all the videos. So please check all those things out there. Number 15, biggest steal, in my opinion, is going to be Curtis Weaver, round 5, pick 164. The Boise State pass rusher goes to the Miami Dolphins. Some thought maybe he can sneak in the second round. I was thinking third round, and then they get him 2 rounds later. A very productive pass rusher. Always got the job done, got to the quarterback, very productive, and that's kind of what you want to see. Sacks are king to some people, so very productive career at Boise State, and that was appealing enough to take him in the 5th round for the Dolphins. Maybe the reason why he did drop, some teams not really sure what he fits more, where to put him. Kind of an odd body type too. Teams weren't really thrilled with that. You wish there was a little more length, and then maybe can kind of get in more shape, and that will definitely help going into an NFL program like the Miami Dolphins to get him ready. So a productive guy, and definitely expected for him to go earlier than round 5. Number 14, biggest steal is going to be Kayvon Wallace, the Clemson DB slash linebacker. I'm probably the only one, but I put on the tape, and when he's up in the box, almost in the outside linebacker position, he really stands out. Especially flying the ball, reading the play in the backfield. So I almost get a linebacker feeling from him, and you see what the NFL is heading. The more athletic types, former safeties go to linebacker, so I can see some of that. But where he played most of his reps at Clemson was in the slot corner. So it's a guy really that can do it all. And that was a big-time pick for the Eagles. This one would definitely be higher up on the list because I really like Kayvon Wallace. He was one of my guys in the draft, and I thought he should have been a second-round pick. But at the same time, maybe why he's lower on this list, even though making the top 15 is big time here, is because, I kind of did expect him to go around this range. I kind of expected somebody to steal him. But this was a big-time pick for the Eagles. Kind of the poor man's, or the later rounds, Isaiah Simmons, how I viewed him. And he played on the same team. When Isaiah Simmons was at linebacker, Wallace at corner, Wallace at linebacker, Simmons at slot corner or safety. So it's kind of one of those situations there. So that's a big-time pick for the Eagles. They are in round 4. Number 13 is going to be Tyler Johnson, the Minnesota wide receiver. Big playability, production king as well. Had dominated plenty of solid competition as well. Round 5, pick 161. I thought he'd probably go in round 3, so this was big time, and it fills a pretty big need for the Buccaneers. That third receiver was pretty important, so you get a guy that can play in the slot, play outside. Kind of sounds like another Chris Godwin. Could in similar body type as well. So you kind of can swap those guys where they're aligned there. So big time steal for the Buccaneers here. Went way later than I thought. Number 12 is going to be a Cowboy, CeeDee Lamb from the first round. This is the only player from the first round on this list. Maybe the best player on this list, but maybe not towards the top because it's a first round talent that's still stuck in first round, but he did drop further than we thought. CeeDee Lamb was not supposed to be there at 17, so this was an epic steal within the first round, well inside the top 10 on my big board. And they got a number 1 caliber receiver in Dallas. They already have number 1, but in today's game you need multiple. So props to the Cowboys for not passing on a top-tier talent here. And CeeDee Lamb, he comes in number 12. Number 11 is going to be Kristian Fulton, the cornerback, now on the Titans from the LSU Tigers here. That there's a group of 9 corners really that stood out. We knew for sure we're going to go by the end of round 2. All of them will be off the board. But after maybe the first 2, we really didn't know the order. The order was going to surprise us, and somebody was going to drop. I just didn't really think it was going to be Kristian Fulton all the way down to 61. There was some chance he can go early 2. Really thought he would go late 1, though. So the Titans, in need of a corner because they really only have 2 that really could play at a solid level on their roster. And they did lose a slot in Logan Ryan. They do got a guy like Amani Hooker that can step up there perhaps. But in terms of the outside corners, you add another one that's going to be the starter for the future, but also can play and start right away in the slot. So they get a big-time guy here. All the way down at 61 was very surprising. Another corner that I thought was a first-round player here, Jalen Johnson goes to the Bears at pick 50. So the Bears had 2 second-round picks to not have a first-round pick. And with their second-round pick, they get Jalen Johnson, which was a first-round talent cornerback. And like I said, with Kristian Fulton, somebody had to drop. I just didn't think Jalen Johnson and Kristian Fulton were going to drop. I didn't think Johnson would be one of the ones that would, all the way down to 50. Great pairing with Johnson and Kyle Fuller there. So that was a pretty good steal. What kind of drew me to first-round talent at the end of the day for Jalen Johnson was, his ability to kind of, pick up offenses, read what the play recognition, read what play's coming, and that kind of stood out. And he kind of talked about that. You can hear him in interviews as well. He really just understands formation and where the ball may be. So a physical playmaker there for the Bears. So pick 50, number 10 on the list, Jalen Johnson of the Bears. Number 9 is going to be Geno Stone. We got a 7th-round pick here, round 7, pick 219. I like Geno Stone's tape a lot. A guy that's always flying the ball. Another instinctive player here. The play recognition is very impressive. Not too many players can impress in that category, and this guy drops all the way down to round 7. Thought he would go around round 4. So a pretty big steal for the Ravens here. The reason maybe why he did drop is just strictly zone scheme in Iowa. Teams want to see a little variety, a little mixture. They want to feel safe about knowing what this player could do, for their defense. So that's maybe why he dropped. But a good player to learn behind Earl Thomas, and a really good steal here in round 7 for the Baltimore Ravens. Number 8 is going to be Bradley ANAE. Cowboys, again on this list. Round 5, pick 179. This is a guy graded as a second-round talent. Wouldn't have surprised me if he went 3rd, and they get him in the 5th. Also a guy that I think has potential to be possibly at some point this year, a starting pass rusher opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence for them. This guy's another one that he's going to get to the quarterback. So strong, technique is there, good bull rusher. I mean, the hand usage and how strong they are ridiculous. We've seen him dominate the Pac-12 competition. We've seen him go to the Senior Bowl and dominate that as well. I did not think he would last this long here, so the Cowboys get a steal at 179 overall. That number 8 on the list. Number 7 is another Cowboy here, Trevon Diggs. Round 2, pick 51. I had Diggs graded as a 2nd overall corner in this class, and I was quite confident about that. There was nobody really, I like C.J. Henderson at 3, but it really wasn't too tough to split those guys up for me based on what I've seen and some numbers. So I like Trevon Diggs a lot. Upsides through the roof as well. Only playing in position for a few years, and he's already a natural. And this guy should have been a first-round pick. There was some talk he could drop a little bit to the 2nd, so that's why it's not higher up on this list, but it does come in at number 7, and for sure starter for the Cowboys right away. So this is a big-time steal. Trevon Diggs, all the way at 51 for his talents, is significant there. Number 6, it's going to be the Jets picking up DENZEL MIMS, the receiver from Baylor, round 2, picks 59 here. This was a first-round graded receiver for me, and I really thought he would go first. Maybe last second we started to hear he possibly could go 2nd, possibly. So maybe that's why he's not number 1 on this list, but it's definitely pretty close, definitely towards the top here. I mean, this is an outside receiver with crazy extension, crazy length. He uses it to his advantage as well. And can high point the ball, spectacular catches in traffic, great red zone target. So, and he has the speed on top of all that. So, this is a big-time pick for the Jets. They needed a number 1 caliber receiver. I think they got one all the way at pick 59 here. Number 5 is going to be ZACK BAUN of the Saints. So a potential first-round prospect, right going up to the draft the last second. Everyone kind of feeling he could go early 2nd, but they end up getting him round 3, pick 74. So that was big time. The Saints were in the market. They were looking for a outside linebacker that can also give them some pressure on the quarterback. And they got exactly that in ZACK BAUN, who also can cover. He's also somewhat rangy, but he gets after the quarterback at a pretty high level, so the Saints will use him to the best of abilities there, and that'll kind of give us, it's one player, but it will kind of give us a whole new look almost on this defense. So this is a big-time pick here. Did not think he'd be there in round 3. Maybe the reason he did, people worried about his weight/strength. I'm not worried about that. It's not me, but that could be the reason why. Pick 4 is going to be Julian OKWARA, round 3, pick 67 to the Lions. A Notre Dame pass rusher. Another one I had a first-round grade on. Some of us thought he'd probably go second because he did have the injury last year. It's really not a worry at this moment or going forward. This is a very productive pass rusher. An insane amount of pressures on the quarterback the last couple of years. And then actually drops in coverage very well, too. Joins his brother Romeo OKWARA on the Lions. They do have Trey Flowers, but I would not be shocked by the end of the year if we're talking about Julian OKWARA being their best, most productive, efficient pass rusher there. You know, the combination of athleticism, and just skill and altogether is pretty darn impressive. So round 3, 67, that's ridiculous. Lions pass rush got better with this pass rusher here. So number 4. Number 3 on the list is going to be the Cardinals picking Josh Jones, round 3, pick 72. This was a first-round offensive tackle for me. Another one real close starting the draft. We heard it's possible he could go early round 2, but he drops to round 3, pick 72. So impressive pickup for the Cardinals here. And they need a tackle, too, a guy that can potentially start, and they get one with Houston's Josh Jones. You know, the reason maybe why he dropped, people talk about his technique. He doesn't have maybe the correct technique or what you see out of most, solid tackles in the NFL, the footwork, but he's a guy that, to me, if you can keep your guy in front of you, you can block the guy. If you can give up very limited amount of pressures, which he did, you can contribute in run blocking as well. I don't have a problem at all. So you see a quarterback change at one point for Houston as well. So that actually has some adjustments to it. So very impressed with him. Very, very impressed with that pick. He could actually be starting right away. And that's all the way down at a round 3 player there, but a better talent. We're on to the top 2. Number 2 is going to be Jacob Eason. The Colts pick the quarterback from Washington at round 4, pick 122. Mind-blowing. It's absolutely wild. The difference between him and Herbert, whether you pick which one you like. Most people like Herbert better. That's fine. But the difference between the two is not pick 6 to 122, not even close. The arm strength is eye-popping. The throws in traffic, eye-popping, mind-blowing plays by Jacob Eason. Yeah, he needs to clean up the accuracy, mainly on the simple stuff, underneath. Just take a little bit off it. He's always trying to throw the ball as hard as he possibly can. We can fix that. The coaching staff could fix that. The big playability. First half of the year, it looked like he was going to be a lock at a top 10 pick. So that is in him. It's not like he played terrible the rest of the year, not even close to terrible. And I really love the fit for the Colts. The reason why he dropped, teams just prefer other quarterbacks. There's not too many quarterbacks. Pretty easy to fall in love with one. But another reason, I actually heard he didn't interview all that well. I guess his attitude, but people are trying to say he's cocky. I don't mind somebody that's cocky. Confidence, cockiness. It can't hurt to have that type of player on your team, in my opinion. But yeah, I think another, people don't like how he handles pressure. I think more reps and just working on the footwork, in the pocket will fix that. And that's something that can be coached and with time will be fixed because he started some games for Georgia. He took some years off without actually playing, goes into Washington and just starts right away. I never really got a fair shot, in my opinion. Not that it was unfair, but it never got a fair shot to show us what he's fully got or to develop. So I think more reps alone kind of fixes those things. On top of that, I liked him for the Colts for that reason. A very good offensive line. Offensive line's pretty hard to predict, repeat, I should say. You see teams go from first to worst to first every single year. Nothing really pointing me in the direction that the Colts will go from top tier to bottom tier this year. So it seems like a pretty good offensive line. Again, sure thing. He's probably not playing this year, but it's a good piece behind Phillip Rivers. It's good for the future. I like the upside out of Jacob Eason here. Almost call him Phillip Eason, but he reminds me in ways of Phillip Rivers too, so that works out. So all the way down, I wouldn't have been shocked if they traded a late one and took him just because he's such a good fit behind Phillip Rivers and for their offense, and they get him round 4, pick 122 is spectacular. Number 1 though for me is going to be an Eason. That sounds like a number 1, so it's a very good steal for the Colts. Number 1 is going to be Terrell Lewis to the Rams, round 3, pick 84. This guy is a beast. I had a first-round grade on him. My third-rated pass rusher in this entire draft. Love the fit as a 3-4. That's where he went. He's going to replace Dante Fowler. It's a fantastic replacement. I don't think we're going to see that much of a drop-off. He just needs to stay healthy. I trust that he will. This guy, you grade pass rushers and you look for I mean, so many different traits. You want to see the get off, the burst, similar thing right there, and then you want to see, do they have athletic ability? Do they have strength? Can they get to the quarterback? Can they be disruptors? Do they get consistent pressure? And I think he checks all those boxes there. If you just look at the stats, it won't show, what he actually did in terms of a playmaker or creating plays. He created for his team. Seen him rush from the edge. Seen him kind of rush from the inside at times as well. Love to see that. This guy is going to be, if healthy, is going to be a damn good pass rusher. I promise that. So round 3. Pick 84 on a first-round talented guy. Yeah, we did think he can drop, and we started to hear that. Yeah, teams were worried about the past injuries, elbow injury a few years ago, and a knee injury a couple years ago. Teams were actually worried about that, so I started to feel right before the draft that he could drop a little bit, and that could hurt. But then again, right before the draft started, I just started to think like this guy is just too talented. Teams are going to see it. He wasn't hurt last year. Teams are, and there's a lack of really good pass rushers. I was starting to think he still has a chance to go late first, early second, just because that talent. And it's not like he's just coming off an injury, but he still drops to round 3, 84. I love the fit with the Rams, exactly what they needed. Absolutely love this pick. It was a steal of the draft in my opinion. I mean, you can make the case for EASON. You can make the case for some of these other guys. There's some other ones that weren't even listed. They're epic steals, but it just kind of defeats the purpose unless I pick out a certain group of him here. So in the comments, let me know your top steals. If you think I missed one, let me know who it is and why. And don't forget to click that like button, subscribe to both of our channels, follow us on Twitter. Really appreciate that. More of these types of videos definitely on the way. And then getting real close to that time of year, once we get through the draft grades, rankings like this, the time of year where we start to predict everything possible for the 2020 season. So that'll be a lot of fun. So we got you covered here at the Goat House. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for the support. That's going to do it. Goodbye.